What's up guys, welcome back to another GGF video, and today we'll be taking a look at the ROG Strix -A gaming Wi-Fi motherboard. Now just like in my previous one where I went over the Hero, I'll be going over the board, the new features and some of the aesthetics as well. So you notice I didn't say X870E, that's because ROG or ASUS has dropped off the E on some of their boards, and that's the same on their iGaming, which is their iChecks board as well. Now I reached out to them and they said that they didn't need the E on this tier of board. The extra features that it offered, they could already implement them on to this new chipset. So don't think that because it is a non-E, you are getting less features than if this board or the previous X670E-A gaming had. You're getting the exact same features, if not, you are getting more. So don't think that because it doesn't have the E, it's going to be a lesser model board, which it isn't. Now, I want to go over the new Q features. I covered them on the previous video on the Hero. I'll do them quickly again on this one if you're just interested in this board. But first off, I just want to talk about the aesthetics. Of course, the -A has been their white sort of lineup of boards, and I really do appreciate how ROG have now gone with the white PCB. And I like the two-tone where it's white on the main side, and then we have this gray on the back, although you're not going to see it. It's just a nice contrasting. And then we have the eye here, another eye there. I don't know why we have two, and then just some other aesthetic parts there. So moving back on the main section. Now, if you're familiar with their other previous board that was all white, I believe that was the Z790 Apex, the original Z790 Apex, not the Encore. That one had a white PCB, but it was more, I would say, a bit of a grayish tone. Now, I believe, or I can see that this one is much whiter. I've compared them both, and it does look much better than that one. We have the silver heatsinks. They may look white, they may look a little bit overexposed, but it was hard trying to get the contrast white. So we have the white heatsink, plastic shroud over the I/O cover. That does light up RGB, and this is the only RGB that lights up on this board from what I can see from my testing. Then we just have some silver, some more silver, and then some shiny silver. So this is more like an anodized, the matte silver, and then over here is more shiny. So moving on to the new Q release features, we have the M.2 Q release. Basically push on this latch like this, and then out comes your heatsink. Now this is a massive block of, I would say, aluminum. No heat pipes, just a massive block of aluminum. Now, previous boards, you had the two screws you had to screw down. They were always hard to line up because it was just two screws trying to line them up into their holes. Now it's just this we can drop in. Unfortunately, as I said previously on the Hero board, the lower M.2s, so there's 3 here. You still have 4 screws here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll still have to undo each of those. Take this whole block off. It's actually from here up here, so this bit stays. Take this off, but when you install these, you just got to try and line up all those 4 holes. I just wish they had some type of guide or a locating pin that helped you line those up. Now, the another feature is the Q slide, which I also mentioned in the previous video. If you're running something like a 2230 M.2, which is smaller, they're nearly like half the size or half the length of a 2280, you don't have to move the locking mechanism down lower to mount that drive. You can install this, slide it all the way along. Then when you drop your smaller M.2 in, you just slide this along until it lines up, and that locks it in place. I don't really think too many people are going to be running those smaller SSDs on these boards, so it probably doesn't really matter too much. And this will work on all the slots, I believe. All of the slots that have this sort of metal plate on it. When I take this off in B-roll, you'll see if it doesn't have this metal plate, then this won't be able to slide on. But I think you at least get 2 on this board. I believe it would be the 2 Gen 5 slots. So next we have the M.2 Q latch. So previously, before when you would secure the M.2 down, it had that little spiral plastic bit, but now we can just drop an M.2 in and just push it down, and it's good to go. And now to take it off, you just push it off like that, and that's the same on all of the 3 under here as well. And I assume that's going to be on all of their boards moving on from now, so that's pretty nice. And the last feature is the new PCIe Q release. Now there's no sort of eject button over here. That would run a cable down to release this slot. Now on this one, it's only on the top one. On the Hero, I covered in the previous video, it was on both of them, but it's just on this one. So when you put your GPU in, when it goes in straight and locks in, you screw it in, it is supported by this latch because it will close like that. Then as soon as you start to twist your GPU out, it will spring back and release. So that's nice, and it cleans up this area here. So that is good. Now moving to some other features, the power design on this board, I didn't really find this in the documentation or anything, but I checked it out and counted it. Looks like a 16+2, which it was before. We have 4 DIMMs supporting 196 gigabytes, and that's 4 by 48, of course, and that's up to 8,000 mega transfers. And then for the M.2s, we have 4 all up, 2 Gen 5, which will probably be this one, and then we have 2 Gen 4. Now for the PCIe slots, we have 2. That's been dropped down. On the previous Strix-A, we had these 2, and then I believe we had a by 4 in the middle. So of course the top one's Gen 5. This bottom one is 16 physically, but it's locked to 4 only. I can see in there the pins only go up to about here, so that is a by 4 slot. Now you also have to be careful, like on the Hero, of the M.2 allocations. If you want to deck all of this out, you'll probably end up dropping this slot down to by 8, which is fine, and then you may lose this slot completely. But best thing is to go on the product website for this, or the manual, and it tells you exactly what is shared with what. Now some other features, we have the inclusion of USB 4 on these more middle tier boards. Now I wouldn't say this is middle, maybe middle to higher end, but on most of the boards you will be seeing the inclusion of USB 4. And then we have dual USB 3 for your case front panel headers. Now before I think we only ever saw these having 2 on more of the extreme boards. The Hero had the 2, now this has the 2. Of course, being something like an ITX board, we won't see the 2, but I think having these 2 is good to see. In terms of having 2 USB-C, I don't think that's really that common on cases, so we're just going to stick to the 1. Now for the Wi-Fi 7, it's standard Wi-Fi 7. As I mentioned on the Hero has the newer Wi-Fi 7, the 320 megahertz channel width. This is your standard 160, but one nice touch is the antenna is now white. I believe that this may be the first one. I think the Tough BTF board had maybe the first white antenna, but previous on all of their white themed boards, they used to be a black antenna, so that's nice. And of course, being the new Wi-Fi 7 implementation, you simply just push these on like so, and they don't actually need to be screwed in. And I actually didn't mention that on the Hero, but all of their Wi-Fi 7 boards do the same thing. And to take them off, you just pull it off like so. So no more twisting and spinning around. But I think that's it on this board. Just a quick one. I'll put this back on. I really like the aesthetics of this board. I have a build coming up in this one. Only thing maybe a little bit different I would have liked to have seen. So with the memory, I have seen white boards before come with white DIMM slots. I think that would have really just been the icing on the cake. Now I know this isn't meant to be a super high-end tiered board, but let's just see how it looks once I put this. Once again, some more Team Group Extreme memory. It just happens to be I had both sets in the black for the Hero, and now I've got the white for this board here. And I really like how nice and matte this memory is. It's not glossy, shiny, anything like that. I just want to see how much of this DIMM slot you can actually see. So really, I guess it's not that bad, but having it all white over here on the plastic and all white at the top just would have, as I said, been the icing on the cake. And I just noticed that the two 8-pin EPS are gray as well, so it's nice they've gone a little bit different. It is a bit weird though that we got the black over here for your 24-pin, and then we have 2 gray ones here. So I'm wondering what this would have looked like if this whole connector was gray as well, and then maybe move to sort of gray on some of the connectors. But yeah, I want to know your thoughts, even down the bottom, all of these being black. Maybe if they were really serious about making an all-white board, make everything either white or gray and see how it looks by ditching all of the black connectors. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Price on this board is going to be $370 US. But anyway, I want to thank ASUS for sending this out. Stay tuned for the build I have coming up on this one. It will be out soon. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.